Lauren's got the curse. When I started to show interest in painting, they were like, oh, you've got the curse. Yeah, my grandmother just always joked that we were cursed and that we'd been bitten by this bug and that there was no cure. You just have to like paint for the rest of your life. My name is Lauren Gregory. I am a painter, animator, quilter, director of music videos, and a professor of quilting and animation. I started out as a painter, and while I was in grad school at the Art Institute of Chicago, I started to animate with oil paint. At first I didn't realize that I was animating, but I kind of started to document my paintings changing over time, and as I started to string those photos together, I realized that I was basically just animating, and my love of animation was born from there. During the pandemic, I kind of got back in touch with quilting, which was a love from much earlier in my life, and so that time period sort of like reawakened my love of quilting, and now I'd say I have my foot equally in both of those worlds. With both painting and quilting, I come from like a long line of women in my family. I've got a painting in there that's by my great-grandmother, and then a painting by my grandmother, who was an amazing landscape painter in the Southwest. And my mom is a portrait artist. She's like really amazing at capturing a person's likeness. Then with quilting also, I feel so fortunate to Carter, my husband, and we've become kind of like the family collectors of quilts from both sides. So like older family members have started sending us all of their quilts, and we kind of keep them safe and keep them cataloged. So we're both lucky to come from like some really cool quilters. This unicorn quilt, it's just my quilted version of the Unicorn in Captivity. I made it during like a period of sort of isolation in my life where I had just had a surgery and I was going through IVF, and this was just kind of the artwork that I made during that time that I was at home recovering. And it has a lot of printed fabrics that I made and also a lot of found fabrics. If you zoom in and pay close attention to kind of some of the memes and pop culture references that I am including in here, it's kind of a snapshot of like what was on my phone and what was happening in my world during this time in my life. Here is a picture of the embryo that actually became Sunday. Medical miracle. This woman convinced her doctor to Google endometriosis. So just like a lot of stuff related to what I was going through at that time. I've always been interested in the unicorn as a symbol. To me, it's just like a symbol of solitude and badassery, and the fence around the unicorn kind of like symbolizes that isolation to me. The materials that I use are really important to me. I spend a lot of time shopping for fabrics and creating the fabrics that I'm going to use, and I spend even more time like poring over those fabrics and deciding on exactly which little swatch I'm going to use. So the quilts are almost completely about materiality and memory. I hope that one day, like all quilts, like that these quilts will be sort of like keepsakes and heirlooms that I can look back on, and I hope that by including internet culture from this time in the quilts, that they can become like a document of what's happening right now in a truer sense than my quilts would be if they just had found fabric. I'm originally from Tennessee, but I'm from East Tennessee, and I lived in Chicago and New York for so long. And so coming back to Nashville has been like a homecoming for me. And I think one difference that I notice working in Nashville is just like I feel really supported. The community here is very tight-knit, and people are genuinely like ready to help. It feels very much like a rising tide lifting all ships. Each day is an opportunity to wake up and try to create something new and try to express yourself. And if you keep creating things, if you build it, they will come. So I think if you just keep making what you're making, and if it's important to you, then other people will come around and the opportunities will come.